Primitive reflexes are automatic, involuntary movements that are present in newborns. They're essential for a baby's survival and early development. These reflexes should gradually disappear as the baby grows up and their nervous system matures. If these reflexes persist longer than expected, it can sometimes indicate an underlying developmental issue. We'll go through each of the common primitive reflexes and discuss their significance. Let's move on to the next slide. Now this slide is showing the rooting reflex. This reflex is vital for feeding. When a baby's cheek is stroked, they will turn their head towards the touch and open their mouth, searching for the nipple. This helps them locate food and initiate feeding. The rooting reflex is usually present from birth and typically disappears by around 3 to 4 months of age. Its persistence beyond this time can sometimes interfere with feeding development and might require further attention. Okay, the next slide discusses the Moro reflex, also known as the startle reflex. When a baby is startled by a loud noise or sudden movement, they'll typically throw their arms out wide, gasp, and then bring their arms back in. This reflex is usually present from birth and typically disappears by around 3 to 6 months of age. It's important for a baby's sense of security and early protective responses. Persistent Moro reflex beyond the typical time frame might suggest a need for further evaluation. The Palmar Grasp reflex is an automatic grasping motion that babies make when you touch their palm. It's a natural response that helps them develop their grip strength and is an important part of their early development. This reflex is quite noticeable in newborns and usually disappears within the first few months of life as they begin to develop more voluntary control over their hand movements. The slide is now displaying information about the asymmetrical tonic neck reflex, also known as the fencing reflex. When a baby's head is turned to one side, the arm and leg on that side will extend, while the opposite arm and leg will flex. This reflex is typically observed between birth and 6 months of age. It's believed to help with developing visual coordination and prepare for later motor skills, like rolling over. Its persistence beyond the expected time frame might warrant further assessment. The presentation has now moved on to the symmetrical tonic neck reflex. This reflex is observed when a baby's head is moved up or down. When the head is flexed forward, the arms will bend and the legs will straighten. Conversely, when the head is extended backward, the arms will straighten and the legs will bend. This reflex typically appears around 6 months of age and usually disappears within a few months. It plays a role in the transition from crawling to walking and helps with developing coordination between the upper and lower body. Persistence of this reflex beyond the typical time frame might indicate some developmental delays. The current slide is explaining the tonic labyrinthine reflex. This reflex is related to the baby's posture in response to gravity. When a baby is lying on their back, their arms and legs tend to extend. When they are lying on their stomach, their arms and legs tend to flex. This reflex is present from birth and usually disappears around 6 months of age. It helps with the development of muscle tone and coordination in relation to gravity. Its persistence beyond the typical time frame might affect a child's ability to develop proper posture and movement. The slide is now describing the gallant reflex. When a baby is lying on their stomach and the side of their back is stroked, they will curve their body towards that side. This reflex is present from birth and usually disappears around 6 months of age. It's believed to help with the development of core muscle strength and preparation for crawling. If this reflex persists, it might affect a child's ability to develop proper posture and coordination. The next slide is about the positive support reflex. When a baby is held upright and their feet touch a surface, they will straighten their legs to support their weight. This reflex is usually present for the first few months of life. It helps prepare the baby for weight-bearing walking in the future. If this reflex persists, it might affect a child's ability to develop proper standing and walking patterns. The current slide is discussing the Landau reflex. When a baby is held horizontally face down, they will lift their head and extend their legs and back. This reflex typically appears around 4 months of age and usually fades by around 12 months. It's important for developing head control, back strength, and posture. The absence or persistence of this reflex beyond the typical time frame might indicate a need for further assessment. The presentation is now concluding. Primitive reflexes are fascinating indicators of a baby's early neurological development. They serve crucial survival functions and pave the way for later motor skills. Tracking the disappearance of these reflexes is an important part of developmental assessment. If any of these reflexes persist beyond the expected time frame, it's important to consult with a healthcare professional, as it might indicate a need for further evaluation and support. Understanding these reflexes can provide valuable insights into a baby's development.